In the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, that's. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to start my comments with some from Robin. She isn't going to be here today. In fact, she said that her schedule is such that she may not be able to attend the meetings all the time, but I told her if she had any really big announcements to let me know, so she has a few here. Update on the bocce ball court. That bocce project is to break ground sometime this month. So if you've noticed out there, the area where it's going to be, I think, is pretty well cleared, and go from there. So that's this month. And then we have a wellness chat this month on August 26th at 2:30 on taking care of your feet. Okay, I think these will probably be posted too, but these are the highlights. So that's the 26th. At 2:30, I assume that's in here, I don't know, on taking care of your feet. Also, Zumba is back. That's Zumba Gold. With new guidelines in place for contracted fitness staff. We'll keep you posted, so you can look forward to Zumba. And then finally, there's chair yoga. Chair yoga class on Thursdays in here, the West MPR, starting August 12th at 10 a.m. Okay, any questions on those? Everybody got it? As I say, they're probably posted too, but these are the ones she wanted to highlight. Okay, there was one thing I wanted to mention about fire evacuation. This keeps coming up, and somebody contacted me last month about how do people in walkers, how are they supposed to evacuate, and so on. There is guidelines in the book, the gray manual about, you know, the residence manual. So please refer to that. You should all have that. But I think the key is you don't have to leave your apartment, okay? If you're able to leave and exit by the designated places, fine. But you don't have to leave if you have a walker or you're incapacitated. Just stay in your apartment, and if smoke comes in under your door, put a towel down. But frankly, the fire suppression system in these buildings is like very advanced. It's a very good fire suppression system. You notice you've got sprinklers all over your apartment. God forbid one of those would go off. I mean, you know, so there's not going to be a towering inferno situation here. And probably any fire would be limited to your unit. The fire department has been contacted many, many times on what to do here. We have a station right down the block. And if we did have a fire emergency here, they would provide as many firemen as we need, and they will go and check door to door. If there's an emergency, say in the West Campus and say H building, they will check every door. So I don't think you have to fear too much about getting out. The best thing to do is just stay in your apartment if you have any questions, and you'll be safe there. Okay. We need a volunteer or somebody who's interested to chair the Building and Maintenance Committee. Dennis can't do it anymore, and so he's asked me to find another chair for that committee. Yes?
Dennis deserves a lot of credit. He has done it year after year after year.
Yeah, he certainly does, and I'm sure we'll always remember him, especially for the recycle efforts that he has put in. Yeah, he's been great. So we'll, yeah, thank you. Thank you. So just kind of in Dennis's honor, please remember everything that he's told us about recycling. If you go to the recycle bins and look in there, when you put your stuff in there, you'll still notice some really weird stuff. I mean, I don't, how often you have to tell people, don't put plastic bags in there. They still do. And the last thing you want in there is styrofoam. I mean, that's killer. Second only to styrofoam peanuts. So please, if you have any doubt about what goes in there, and I think the lady that came here and gave us that nice presentation said, when in doubt, throw it out. So if you have any doubts at all, just throw it in the trash. And before you put it in there, if you have any doubts, guidelines are posted to tell you what to put in there and what not to. So I think we're doing better, but I've had reports of people even putting those green trays in there. So that's something to remember. Okay, that's all I had on that. Now we have staff reports. Erilyn?
Good morning, everyone. How are you? So I went to my first gala. I think I'm saying that correctly because I was corrected quite a few times. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Lindsay and our wonderful co-chair did a fabulous job with all of the help. They raised a phenomenal amount of money, and I'm so happy that I was able to experience it. So I plan on attending every other gala or gala afterwards. So thanks for the invitation, Judy and Lindsay. It was a true experience, and the culinary staff in particular. I don't believe that I had eaten that much food in a long time, but the food was very, very, very good. And for those of you that attended, no, I'm not exaggerating, not one bit. The service was phenomenal. The plating, the presentation, the company at our tables, everything was spot on. So I appreciate the invitation and the entire experience. I'm just full of thanks today. You know, we had our first volunteer orientation, it's last month already, oh my goodness, July 19th. And I knew in my hearts of heart that we would have a great turnout because there were a lot of people that signed up to participate. This room was packed to the brim. And it's just a testament of how dedicated and committed all of our residents are to one another and to the staff to make sure that our residents at Willowbrook Court and Oakbridge Terrace stay engaged and they know that, you know, you care about them. So I appreciate the turnout. We did have a couple of volunteers come over to Willowbrook Court to assist with some of the screening at the door and monitoring of visitation, and unfortunately, that was cut short. They were there all of perhaps 45 minutes when we found out that we had a positive COVID case. So I appreciate the efforts, of course, and we will resume with all of the volunteerism once we confirm that we don't have any active cases. We did do mass testing of all residents, all staff. We're still waiting on 2 or 3 of those results to come back before we can resume visitation and revisit volunteerism. So thank you so much for your patience and your willingness to come and help us out. Adopt a building, and yes, I agree, Dennis has done a wonderful job. He is stepping down as chair of that committee. But as of the middle of the month, last month, our team at ACTS, specifically at Indian River Estates, will be adopting a building. And what that entails is we'll be doing monthly rounds to look for things like, leaks or missing light bulbs or a stain on the carpet, and following up with the respective departments so that it could be addressed. So we're partnering with the residents here to make sure that we keep our campus looking beautiful. Currently, we have 43 residents at Oak Ridge Terrace. Specifically, we have 11 in Beach Haven and 32 in Oak Ridge Terrace, with a capacity of 53. So we do have some availability. The renovation. The renovation is expected to be done. They're really on track. I mean, there's been some rain, some delays of sorts with some conduit that needed to be run, but we're looking at late August, early September. And Kelly, the director of assisted living, she is currently out on leave. She's expected to return around the end of August as it stands right now. We do have regional support and a bunch of wonderful staff that work here to step up to take on some of her duties that she would normally be in charge of. So more to come. We wish Kelly well. Hopefully she'll recover and she'll be able to come back by the end of August. Willowbrook Court, their census is currently 91 out of a capacity of 120. And as I mentioned, we do have one resident that's in our COVID unit. So please remember that we have the Ask the Director meeting that will be Tuesday, 9:30 at East and 11 a.m. here at West. And I saved the best announcement for last. We do have a replacement administrator of health services, and Jessica Winton is here, and I'll bring her up so that she can share a little bit about herself. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't come prepared, I'm sorry. But I am excited to be here. I actually am born and raised in Melbourne, Florida, so not too far up the road. I went to the University of Central Florida and got my bachelor's degree in health science. Originally was going to pursue more of my uncle's a heart surgeon, so I was going to follow kind of in those footsteps as a physician's assistant. However, my grandfather ended up in a skilled nursing facility, and so I kind of changed my path at that time. I started off as a CNA and worked my way up during college, getting my master's degree in healthcare administration. I have been in the healthcare field for a very long time, probably since I was in high school, actually, and have been in the skilled nursing world for the last 5 years. So I do live in Vero, not far away, actually. We live in Vero Lago, and I have a 2-year-old daughter. She'll be 3 Tuesday. So super excited to be here, glad to be working back in Indian River County where I live, because for the last 5 years, basically, I've been working in Brevard County. So I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you. Yes. I'll repeat the question. Go ahead.
Administrator of Health Services. So therefore, you are administrator of Willowbrook and OBT.
Question was clarification on administrator of health services. So that's Willowbrook and OBT, correct? Okay, Therese, do you have some great updates here for us?
Good morning. Okay, I'm just going to give you a couple of highlights going over the month of August. Next week, good news, we're supposed to be getting our updated photo directory shipped out to us, so as soon as we get it, we'll be sending it out. Our Space Coast Symphony Orchestra Summon the Heroes bus has been canceled, so we only had 2 people sign up for that. There wasn't much interest, so. A highlight over at East, if our newcomers, anybody who's new who'd like to go over there, historian Ruth Stanbridge will be given a virtual tour PowerPoint in the East NPR at 7:15 p.m. on August 11th. So if you'd like to go over there and learn a little bit about the area, that's a nice icebreaker. William Citron will be here on Thursday, August 12th at 7 p.m. doing the best of the oldies, and he puts on a great show, so don't miss it. Like to get a little bit more higher numbers coming in. The show's only an hour. You can watch it after dinner. It's a nice way to cap off the evening. So I hope we'll get more signups for that. Let's see, now we have a sign-up sheet for the Sunday dinner went out, and the Ocean Grill was picked. There's limited space, so first come, first serve. This bus will be for West residents only because East has a separate trip going on the 29th. So August 15th, if you want to go out to dinner at Ocean Grill, sign your name up. I'll be escorting that trip. And Wednesday, August 18th, I'll be out of the office for our regional meeting in Boca most of the day. So if you're looking for me in there, I won't be there. And then Friday, August 20th, R.J. LaMarche and Tim Gordon playing the vibraphone. I've never heard of that. We'll be here in concert at 4 p.m. in the West NPR. Lunch Bunch was switched to from Cafe 66 to Captain Butcher's because they would not accommodate our walkers, and we have quite a few. So we found a bigger, better restaurant that will accommodate us, and there's still a few sign-ups if you want to join the Lunch Bunch ladies. And then Wednesday, August 25th, Dennis Dabbs will be doing a bus tour of the materials recycle facility in Port St. Lucie. It leaves at 9 a.m. It's not for anybody who has problems walking. It's going to be catwalks and a little bit of a hike, walking around the building, and we're going early so we can beat the heat. And we have 10 people signed up, and I have one person on the waiting list. If anybody thinks they may not want to go, let me know. So that person he desperately wants to go. And then finally, Silvertone's bus was canceled for August 26th and is off the calendar. And football goers, I just want to make this. We only have a few left. I need your check by Wednesday for those of you who have not paid. I'll be in there. A $35 transportation fee will be charged to your account for transportation. That's for 7 games. We will have some tailgate parties. Those will be determined and announced at a later date. It's $56 for a single person to go, and it's $112 for a couple. So just make the check out to Vero Beach High School football. And just drop it off into me, and there's only about 4 people left, so I'm just giving you a reminder. And that's it. And if anybody wants a hard copy of this, there's a few more things I didn't mention on here. It's at the door. Have a great morning.
Thank you, Therese. Now, officers' reports. We have Acting Secretary Sally will present the minutes.
The minutes of the last meeting were posted. Are there any changes or additions to those minutes? Then we will accept them as reported. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Galen is still secretary, but he's gone for a couple of months, and Sally is graciously filling in. Okay, Jim, treasurer's report.
Everything's going well with the Treasury. One thing I'll point out is that the $3,367 in the Gala Fund has been transmitted, along with the other $140,000 of gifts to the Legacy Fund in Boca. In the income, I'm pleased to report that the New to You has brought in almost $2,900 in 2 sales in July. So everything's going well with the Treasury.
Okay, thank you, Jim. And if you didn't notice, the treasurer's report is on the back of the minutes. Okay, now we have what I would say a special treat in a way, because this is a topic that's so near and dear to all of us. The Culinary Committee is headed up by Jessie Kennedy, and she is going to give a report on what's going on with her committee and with the culinary committee in general. And if you have any questions, I'm sure Jessie would be more than happy to help, and I think Tim's here too. So I know there are concerns and suggestions and everything about culinary, so don't hold back. Here's your chance. Okay, Jess, thank you.
I made Tim promise that he would be here because he's the one to answer the questions. There are 6 resident members on the committee, plus Tim Bear as the culinary manager. Committee members are Beverly Berger, Jessie, that is spelled with an I-E, by the way. The E spelling terminal is for a male. Last name Kennedy. Ellen Kowalik, Jim Kenton, Norman Straub, and Frank Verkuteren. The committee meets the 3rd Thursday of each month. At each of our meetings, we discuss any problems that have occurred as well as improvements in our dining experiences. Because of COVID-19 this past year, most of the food has been ordered as either a brown bag or as a takeout in the Key Lime Cafe. We were very fortunate to have these 2 options, and needless to say, it put a lot of pressure on our culinary staff to accomplish it. We seem to be getting back to pre-COVID dining, and there are a couple of changes in the eating in the main dining room. The most notable change is that reservations are now required for dining in the Crystal Dining Room. And it certainly eliminates those long lines that we have experienced in the past. You can either call culinary to direct or make a reservation online. It has also been requested that we fill out orders for our brown bags the day before we are to receive the food. But should you forget, you can call culinary and they will put your order in for that day so you won't starve. Do we experience problems with orders? Of course we do. Are there items that you don't like or items that you have requested but haven't seen yet? Of course. I still contend that the 2 most beneficial things about culinary that they offer us is, number 1, we don't have to plan the meal. And number 2, we don't have to prepare it. All we have to do is eat it. At present, we are short of servers, but we are hopeful that in the next month or so, that will change. As members of the Culinary Committee, we realize that there are people, and many times, who are not pleased with either his or her dining experience. And we encourage the resident to let us know when it has occurred and what the complaint is. But just as important, we also encourage anyone to let us know when something was particularly good or when someone did a special thing for that resident. We were all under a lot of pressure last year, but somehow we did manage to survive it. Some of us gained some weight. And knowing that we were going to have a meal that we didn't have to fix was truly a blessing. Each member of the culinary staff not only saw to our needs, but also had to see to either his or her needs, be it family, neighbors, or just that individual. I think that a lot of our residents don't even consider that, what the staff was having to go through in their own private lives. We were blessed, and we are blessed. Thank you. Okay, Tim.
Thank you very much, Jesse. Questions about culinary for Tim? I guess for Tim or Jesse or me or anybody. Yes.
Have you noticed that the ceiling's falling in again?
Yes. Yes, I've been in touch with maintenance, and I actually just sent another email this morning regarding that. The roofer is scheduled to be out. I'm not sure where that is, but. So we mentioned staffing. Just an update for everyone. We've made some really good progress in the last week, especially with servers. So we're optimistic that will continue. We've got, I think the last count is 7 that are in the process. So it does take a little bit of time, but I've explained that to them and told them to be patient and follow through all the steps that they have to do. So we're hoping in the next 2 weeks we'll be adding those, and then also too, we haven't really lost any in the last few weeks either. So so it looks like we're kind of trending in the right direction. So yes, ma'am.
Jesse, you forgot number 3, most important. We don't have to clean up.
Oh, exactly, Margot. Thank you. I hadn't even considered that. Well, sometimes if you fix it in your own apartment, you do have to sort of do a little bit if you're brown bagging, but it's not much.
I was thinking in the dining room.
Oh, okay. All right. I got you.
Anything else?
That it? Oh,
Okay,
wow.
Tim, when is your culinary meeting for all residents?
Trez and I are working on that right now. We're planning one for the end of the month. We don't have an exact date, but we're going to get, as soon as today, we'll have a date for that.
A Wednesday.
And we'll get it posted on Channel 95 as well as the bulletin board.
Okay, what does that consist of? What does that cover?
So if typically a food forum, we just go through kind of our agenda as far as upcoming event, in the past it was upcoming events, things that we're working on, programs. And then it's also an opportunity for you to voice any concerns or suggestions, questions, anything like that. So it's really helpful with all the information, that's been changing and going forward. So we're going to get those back on the calendar now that we're able to meet, and those will happen regularly. Yes, ma'am.
Is it going to be a lobster night this year?
We're trying. We're working really hard to try. We've checked prices a few times. We actually reached out yesterday again to check prices again. They're just really high right now, so we're hoping in the next few weeks that'll change. But right now we don't have a definite answer for that.
The question was, if you didn't hear it, is there going to be a lobster night this year? Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Jess, Tim. The next thing on the agenda here is events and activities, reports and announcements. And this is for any committee chairman or anybody else that has an event coming up that would like to talk about it, or anybody have any questions at all about anything having to do with the committees. Okay. Yeah. If not, we'll move on to FLYCRA. Chuck isn't here, but Kathy is going to give the update on FLYCRA.
Just a couple announcements. First of all, we suspended our meetings for the summer, so we didn't have a meeting in July and August, and we'll start back up in September. Erilyn was so kind, and a lot of time involved in putting everyone's name into email address into a database for FLYCRA, so that if there's anything that we need to reach you for as far as a call to action or anything that we would want you to get right away that you might not see on the bulletin board, an email would be sent to you. If your email address is not in your gray community binder, if you will please, and I have some extra forms if you want, if you will please see Diane. And there is a form to fill out along with your correct, or if you need to change your email address, with your correct email address. And also, if you choose not to have your email address published, there is a space on there for that. The new residents, I think most of them that we've gotten the new email addresses, but if we haven't, and then we're going to try to, I talked to Diane this morning, and we're, right now the email addresses are not updated in your binder until every 6 months, and I suggested the end of each quarter. So see how much pull I have. Anyway, and the other thing, oh, and then what Chuck's going to do when he gets back in a couple, 3 weeks, he's going to send a test message to each of you, just test, just so to see if everyone has gotten it through the system. The legislature, the Florida legislature is out right now, and they will start committee meetings in September in preparation for and actually the legislature doesn't start until March this year, but the legislators begin committee meetings in September. In federal, and George does a real good job of keeping us informed in that. However, they're on vacation this month, so don't expect anything. And that's it, unless somebody has some questions. Okay, and we meet the second Monday in the West Social Room, whatever you want to call it. Pardon? Yeah, in the H building on the second Monday of every month at 10:30. If anyone would like to come and just sit in.
Thank you, Kathy. James Bond wasn't able to make it to the gala. He was on a special secret assignment, but he heard it was really great and wanted to pass along his congratulations to everyone. Okay. Before we go over to the open forum, I would once again, maybe I didn't make this quite clear enough, we need somebody to replace Dennis as chairman of that committee. Now, Dennis has it in ship shape, and it's an interesting thing to do. So if you would like to assume the chairmanship of that committee, if you are interested in the buildings and grounds, and say you like to take walks around and see things that need to be done, it's a very interesting committee. All the maintenance people are there. Scott and Harlan are there. It's an opportunity to really get some stuff done. So, okay, all right, good. I have a volunteer over here. Yay! Charles Spadora, right? Yep. So thank you very much, Charles. We really appreciate that. I'm sure that Charles has done a lot of really good things for the Residents Association over the years, in particular with the 7-Eleven project and the subdivision that's going in next door. He had some really good insight into the planning commissions and got us a lot of good information, and he's just been very helpful in so many ways around here, so I'm really glad that you're going to be the chairman, Charles. Okay, we've moved along pretty quickly today. Should have some time. I hope you have some questions. So we'll turn it over to Roger.
Very quiet crowd today. Okay, that time is over. Questions, comments? Yes, sir. Wait for the mic, please.
Thank you. Does ACTS have, excuse me, does ACTS have a plan for periodic engineering inspections of all the buildings in light of what happened in the condo collapse in Miami? I just wondered if that's a plan for periodic inspections at some point by an engineering firm.
Yes, the answer is yes. ACTS corporate has been asking each of the communities how old their buildings are. We have submitted how old ours are, east and west, and they're putting a plan together on the inspections that need to be done in the near future.
Anybody else? Going once. Yes, ma'am.
Any plans anytime to resurface the H parking lot? there are cracks, holes, potholes?
Back to Scott.
The answer is yes, again. We have, I don't even know how many parking lots. Justin, how many parking lots? Who knows? 20 plus for sure. And there's a 5-year plan on resurfacing all of them. And it's just a prioritization that Erilyn and I and Mike and Jeff from the maintenance team have to put together on an annual basis. We can't do them all at once, obviously, but H building parking lot is definitely on the list.
Lee has a question.
Thanks, Res. Just a question also on the follow-up of maintenance. The walkway into the I pool down at the end where the cabanas are located has been cracking and continues to crack. And it's not only is it unsightly, but it is hazardous because as people go in and out of the walkway, if they step on the cracks of the chipped concrete, it could cause someone to stumble. There's where? Oh, at the opposite end as well, where the cover is that's rolled up in the corner. I don't know how useful that cover is, but it's still there. But there are cracks that occur around the walking areas, and it could create an incident with stepping on a crack and breaking, and causing that unstable condition. It's been like that for a while.
We'll make note of that. We do periodic surveys of all sidewalks, and you probably know there's been companies out that have helped resurface or shave down, grind down, so we'll make note of that one as well.
Another question?
Do you have an idea of when they'll start working on the new villas or whatever they're called? Okay.
You may as well hold onto the microphone, Scott.
I do have a decent idea. We don't have a firm date yet. We expect groundbreaking to be at sometime in August, probably late August, and then probably real construction to start early September. So it's getting closer, much closer.
That's really some construction trailer out there.
Yeah, that's a big construction trailer.
It's almost a 3-story, yeah. Scott, are there any existing plans to clean or to inspect the air ducting in all of the apartments and villas? Is that part of ACT's thing about upkeep?
I mean, it's definitely something that is discussed. There's some pros and cons to doing it with certain methods and procedures. I'll get with Jeff Arnold on that and try to have him go up the chain to find out ACT's standpoint on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's like a fiber board in there, and you can't really, you'll be doing more damage. If there was just straight sheet metal, it'd be fine, but this is way different.
And that applies to both apartments and villas?
I'm sure, I need to talk to a guy on that, because I think the villas may be different. I'm not sure. Whatever they've installed in there.
Microphone.
Inside the, I'm going to assume F, G, H, and I apartments, there's like a fiber board inside all of the duct. So if they're cleaning with the, I guess the air or whatever they do to clean out the ducts, it's going to tear all that up in there and do more damage. But if it was straight sheet metal, that would be doable, but it's not sheet metal. For, we're gonna have to look into that then, but.
I was thrilled because maintenance was in my apartment for doing something else, and I mentioned my dryer vent was so full of lint way back where I couldn't get it. It has never been cleaned since the building was built, and since he was there, he cleaned it and did a wonderful job. But to me, that should be done on a regular basis.
We've had the same experience, Lynn.
water in G building is regularly turned off quite a few times a month. And a couple of my neighbors have experienced extreme flooding. I'm wondering if there's any long-term plan to look at the water supply and the construction of water infrastructure in G building.
There is in all of the buildings, just because of the slab leaks that we've been experiencing. A and B building have been done recently, and that will continue to move throughout the campus to all the apartment buildings. How soon? Tough to find out right now, but that's something that's a top priority for ACTS as well.
Lee?
Two things. Number one, thank the people for delivering the shed to the tennis and pickleball area. We finally get the new shed, but it's half the size of what we needed. That goes always into the details when we get permission. Second question is for Enrique regarding the landscape. We talked about a month ago, doing some kind of blocks around the croquet court to prevent the slopes from being so steep. I haven't heard anything about that, whether the blocks are on order, whether they're going to start a project or what they're going to be doing there. But for our east and west members who play and use that facility, and soon there'll be some bocce courts over there as well, that needs to be tended to. I assume there's a plan to get that done. I just was over there the other day, and it is still quite a hazard in that west corner over near the H parking lot. Thank you.
Lee, I did look at that with Enrique, the northwest corner, and I just need to follow up with him to what the plan is.
Thank you.
You were asking about the construction of the new villas. When I was over in Willowbrook, I had a perfect view of that. And a typical construction. One day, about 8 or 9 men came and dug up around all of the trees that I guess they're going to have to move them or something. So all day long they dug. The next day they came along and covered them up.
That's construction.
But I do want to say none of you have to be afraid to go over to Willowbrook. I was there for, I don't know, maybe 10 days, and they were wonderful for me. They couldn't have been nicer. The food was very good, and I have nothing but good things to say about how I was treated over there. No need to be afraid.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think only one of the trees has died. The rest of them have that little moat around them. Right. Any others? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and the meeting is now adjourned.